feel good to be here again to have this conversation. I mean, we talk politics, we talk current affairs, and that's what we know how to do. You might want to leave a stay on the calls for now, because what we're about to engage in is something that is very serious. And we will not, because the social media platforms, the print media and all whatnot, mostly about the 2027 general elections. Keep in mind, just recently on the front page of Nigerian newspapers, we saw where the PDP was given a stern warning to the INEC, saying we don't want to hear any technicalities. We want to see that the 2027 election goes freely and fairly, and that the winner, the deserving winner, is being announced, just so we don't get confused with all of that, trend that is ongoing and the bickering that's going on between Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president, as well as the presidency. We must indeed ensure that we allow ourselves to look into matters, other matters that's affecting Nigeria and that is affecting the nation as well. This is not because we want to critique, or criticize rather, but because we want to critique, and we want to also share our quota in ensuring that we have an indeed great indivisible nation called Nigeria. And to this end is why we are looking into a matter that revolves around corruption allegations rocking the FCT Directorate of Road Traffic Services. And just to put it in view, my name is Uduak Daniel, and we will be having, two guests gracing the occasion this morning as we go conversational. We'll be having Mr. Aminu Iro. He is a former director, FCT VIPS Abuja, and Mr. Nuhu Chechet. He is the retired security expert as well with the agency. Welcome aboard, Mr. Nuhu Chechet. I hope I pronounced your name correctly this time.
Yes.
All right, welcome aboard. So you will be having the former director, FCT VIPS, also via phone call, so that we can corroborate the discourse. Now, let's get into the matter in earnest, and we will hear from you from the place of security. Right? I mean, you have been in the system. I mean, you're still in the system. When I mean you're still in the system, though retired, we still have our quota to share, right? To make Nigeria better. So, retired or not, we're still relevant in discussing matters of concern, development, growth of our dear country, Nigeria. Right. Now, the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Directorate of Road Traffic Services, that's the DRTS, has been facing intense scrutiny following allegations of corruption, forgery, and irregular appointments. So, a civic advocacy group, the Traffic Transparency Initiative (TTI), has petitioned the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike over these issues, and this is sparking a heated debate about governance and accountability in the agency, right? So, looking into that as well, it is also very necessary to look at the key points of the discourse this morning. One of such would be the place of allegations of forgery, where the deputy director of operations is accused of holding a Bachelor of Education in Administration and Planning, which is inconsistent with her current designation as an administrative office staff member. And then from the place of corruption, the immediate past director, Dr. Abdul Latif Bello, is accused of fostering widespread corruption during his tenure, including introducing controversial policies like e-ticketing and online number plates registration. And then there is also the place of irregular appointments, where unqualified officers were allegedly appointed to sensitive positions to enrich the former director, with the deputy director of operations identified as a key beneficiary. And then when you talk about extortion now, the DRTS, that's task forces, are accused of daily extortion of motorists and motorcycle operators. And then, of course, the petition alleges that the handover process was very and highly controversial, and that it bypassed the most senior deputy director in charge of administration. Now, there is a lot of implications. There is a lot of issues that are undermining, this particular agency at the moment. But yeah, I have Mr. Chachet right here, and let's just get into it. Just before we get into it, the board, former director, let's have your take on this. I mean, you've been in the system, you've been in the process before, and what will be your take? What will be your takeaway from all of this? And what do you think could be the way forward?
If we are good morning.
Yes, yeah.
If we are going to go by the text of the day, we must have to watch on how, who, and where we are going to take the whole system into.
Okay. Sir Cheche, if you can, maybe add your voice a little bit so we can hear you. Right, the listener would really want to, hear what you have to say at this moment.
If we are going to go by the text of the day, we are supposed to look at how the professionalism of the whole system is going to be.
Okay.
And how we are going to select people into offices, and how they are going to do the work, and how the work will go with the public, and how the public will see the system work. If you work in the system, there must be technical aspect of the work.
Right.
There must be good people who will want to do the work according to their own positions.
Right.
But when you give somebody a position that he is not able to handle it, that he doesn't know what he is handling, it will become a greater problem for the whole system.
So for you, does it pose a security threat in whatever way? How does this pose a security threat if you're to look at it, being that you are been in the security angle, before now?
If you look at the system, the motorists, if you know how to manage them, you are going to get a better result out of it. If you don't know how to manage them, and mostly it is in the technical aspect of the job.
Okay.
Because everything you do is technical, especially in the operations. When you are not technically sound, there is no way you could advise any of them to do something and it's going to be right.
Okay.
And they will accept your advice on how you can work the whole system.
So when you say technically sound, what exactly are you saying? Because family members want to understand it, the scope of it.
Technically sound, the way I see it is, a motorist would want to know, if you are arresting him, why are you arresting him?
Oh.
What do you understand by what the motor vehicle is? If you don't know it, then there are problems. The way you manage the system is how you get the result out.
Right. Right.
If you look at today, with the advanced age in many of the staffs and those who are on the road, you find out that there are a lot to be done, and there are a lot of corrections that are supposed to take place in the system. Drivers, especially commercial drivers, if you don't know how to manage them, they will go wild. With the condition we find ourselves today in the country.
Right.
If only we can go by that, then we are going to get a result out of it. Advices, working, giving them corrections on how they can correct themselves when at the course of their driving. Most of them drive under pressure. Most of them drive beyond time limit, which is not the best.
Right. So let me ask you, because you've been in the security aspect, for, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the VIO? If I'm not mistaken, VIO.
Yes.
So, has there been is there anybody, do you have laws that also guide you in the dissemination of your duties and responsibilities? Do you have such laws? And if you do have such laws, is it binding on all motor users?
We have laws that are guiding us
Yeah.
in the system. If you go by the law, you must be ready to go with the system.
Okay.
If you don't go by the law, you are not ready to go with the system.
So are there exceptions?
No one is exempted from the law.
No one.
No one is exempted from the law.
Now, good. In your time of service, right, while within the sphere of security, being one who has been ardent and very diligent with your work, has there been any time where you had confrontations with other security agencies? By that I mean maybe the Federal Road Safety Corps, the police, or even the military on the road use? Because most of the time, Nigerians and road users, commercial drivers will say, see them. You don't reach their brothers and sisters now with their uniform. They don't leave them. But us, then go come again, fight us. Then go tell us that we not do like this. Things like that. Has there been any time where you've experienced that? And if such has happened, how was it, how did you handle it?
See, when you meet somebody who is in the uniform,
yes,
who knows the law, you don't need to treat him the same way with the one who doesn't know the law.
Okay.
Because I might just, if I have that challenge from somebody,
yes,
I might just call him, advise him on what he is doing that is not right. Then I might go to his office.
His superior office, okay.
To his office and then report the matter.
Okay.
Because I have already have his own information. And the public will never know that you have gone that length.
So they always think, it's favoritism that's going on here, and that's what's happening. Okay, I get. But let's see how we can get through to the former director. I'm talking about none other but Mr. Aminu Iro. He's going to be joining us via phone call, and he will tell us his own part, especially with the corruption that is rocking, or the allegations, because it's still an allegation until proven otherwise by the law. Allegations rocking the FCT VIPS, right, at this very point in time. So these are the concerns that we'll be looking at as we engage the discourse this morning. Still trying to connect with him at this point. Let's see how far that goes. But while we're still trying to connect with him, let me ask you, what are your thoughts about having left, the system, right? Having all of these issues that border around forgery, corruption, irregular appointments. Did you experience all of that too while you were in service?
You see, when I was in service, I never look at who is being employed and who is not being employed. Who is carrying the right documents and who is not carrying the wrong documents. It's only you are going to do your work, and then who is being posted to you. You teach him the system, how the system works, and you teach him how he will do the work in the system.
Okay.
It's only by his training that is when you will know is the wrong person or not the wrong person.
Okay, it's only by training that you'll know. So you did not really bother about who entered here legitimately or illegitimately. The only thing that concerned you based on your office was about the security, right? Upholding the law, standing by the law, and doing the right thing, if I understand you correctly. Right. Okay, well, we'll get through to Mr. Aminu now. Tried calling a while ago. I think I had a little bit of glitch. But then we will get through to him again. And hopefully this time we should be able to get across to him. However, we're still looking at the matters that concern corruption allegations rocking FCT Directorate of Road Traffic Services now. And yes, we have Mr. Aminu Iro. He is a director FCT VIPS Abuja. Thank you far too kind for being a part of the discourse this morning. And even with your busy schedule, you still joined us all the way. Is it from Katsina now, if I'm not mistaken? Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yes. It does feel good to have you on the Prog Show this morning and to talk about a very serious issue that borders around the VIPS, if I'm not mistaken, the VI, or we know it. Corruption allegations has rocked the FCT Directorate of Road Traffic Services, where the Federal Capital Territory Directorate of Road Traffic Services, that is the DRTS, is facing intense scrutiny following allegations of corruption, forgery, and irregular appointments. And the TTI, that's Traffic Transparency Initiative, which is an advocacy or a civic advocacy group, they have petitioned the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike over these issues and is sparking a heated debate about governance accountability within the agency. Now, as a former director, I mean, how do you think these allegations of corruption, mismanagement at the DRTS can be addressed, given your experience?
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes.
First and foremost, let us look at the DRTS itself.
Okay.
DRTS is a professional government agency responsible for security, safety, and sensitivity of its established laws. It's a professional organization. So it's supposed to be headed by a professional, what you now call VIO. Now, being a professional means that you may execute those responsibilities that the RTS is supposed to. So if somebody appointed not so qualified or not so professional, you might compromise on the efficiency of that agency. And if so appointed, it means one is appointed based on favoritism. And favoritism is corruption. And mind you, there are officers within DRTS, senior officers, that can be so appointed. Why appoint somebody from outside? And that person that is so appointed is not a professional. So it means that whoever appoints that person out of favoritism encourages corruption. And that's why you have problem with DRTS. Hello?
I get that. We heard you. So, yeah, you're
go ahead.
Okay. So now, well, let me ask you. There is an FCT minister in the person of Nyesom Wike. Do you think he has a role to play in ensuring accountability and transparency in the agency?
Certainly, he's responsible for all appointments. And what you should do is to appoint professional to that directorate. Let me give you an example. If you appoint somebody that is not a professional, he will mismanage that agency. Some years back, please, there was an accident along Kubo Road. And what happened was because at that time, a non-professional person was the director. And he embarrassed the agency by saying that trucks are not supposed to have rear brakes. And that is very embarrassing.
Trucks are not supposed to what?
Trucks are not to have rear brakes.
Okay.
The brakes of the vehicle from the trucks should not have rear brakes.
Oh, okay. I get that. Yes.
And even according to FCT law, even ordinary bicycle is supposed to have rear brake. I said DRT is sensitive. Now, for him saying that means he can allow all vehicles to drive into Abuja with faulty brakes. And I'm sure recently we are witness to what happened when such trucks ran into vehicles and people lost their lives. There were even fire outbreak, isn't it? So that's a sensitivity of being appointed, not so appointing an unqualified person to that position. So what the minister should do is to please, even if he has to favor somebody, let him favor somebody from within the DRTS and appoint him as director of DRTS.
All right. Even if he has to favor someone, it should be within the system and not having someone from outside the system, as we have seen in part of the allegation sparking intense debate now, where that has brought about petitioning that somebody who is not qualified for a certain position has been put in that position. Now, in view of this, how can the agency prioritize transparency and revenue laws? Or rather, how can the agency prioritize road safety and prevent revenue loss?
The same thing. You appoint a professional there.
Okay.
There is what we call FCT, Road Traffic and Transport Regulation. Now, anybody that is appointed must be conversant with that regulation. Now, if you appoint somebody outside the system, he may not be necessarily conversant with the provisions of that law. And in that law, there are ways and means of generating revenue for FCT. Now, if that person, remember, all those officers you see within the system, they were trained road traffic officers. So they know the law in and out. So if we appoint somebody outside the system, he may not necessarily know all those things in the law. Thus, FCT will now lose revenue and that person so appointed might not necessarily be responsible for the safety that is supposed to, road safety that is supposed to protect FCT residents.
All right, now I have with me in the studio Mr. Nuhu Chechet. He has, of course, is also a retired security expert with the agency. Mr. Nuhu, do you agree with what the former director is saying in this regard?
The former director is telling what is supposed to be.
Right.
He's informing everyone to know the wrong thing has been taking place in the system.
Good, because I was going to ask, is that what it is in practice? Because there's a difference between the ideal and the real. So is that what is, from your experience, while you were in the system? Was that what was going on in the system then?
You see, when you are in the system and you are wearing a shoe that is oversizing you, you will never know where the leg should be.
Right.
And where the leg not
It's not supposed to be, okay.
But when you know the laws and you are in the system and you have known the system very well, you will know where to make things work right. But people that will just come in, the place is being handed over to them. They will do whatever they can do, but they will never know technical aspect of the job.
Now, I'm glad that you mentioned technical aspects of the job. So let me come with you, Mr. Aminu. When it comes to technical and technicalities, are we now saying that we can trust the officers within the system to deliver their jobs ideally without fear of favor? 100%, because there has been calls by commuters, road users, Nigerians on matters that need retraining officers within the system.
Let me come in here. Even within DRTS, there are departments. There are operations department, there is motor vehicle agency department, and other departments. Now, the VRO is within the MVA department, and then we have operations department. Now, that's why earlier I said that all the officers that were recruited and trained by DRTS, they are capable of doing all the technical things so long as they reach the management level. Because by the time you reach management level, you must be conversant with all the laws within even the technical laws. But if somebody is not trained by DRTS up initio, it means he may not necessarily be technically competent to do all those responsibilities, even on the roads.
Okay. Well, I'll open the phone lines now because I want the family members on this radio platform to add their voice to this, what they think about this very huge corruption allegation, this huge forgery allegation that is going on with the DRTS right now, as found by the TTI, calling on the FCT minister to do the needful. Right now, let's put out the number 0907-353-0044 is the number for you to call to add your voice loudly and clearly, and the other number is 0908-766-8888. And the WhatsApp portal number, where you can just send your WhatsApp message only, would be 0909-705-4450. Now, what are the key allegations? There is the allegation of forgery, where the Deputy Director of Operations is accused of holding a Bachelor of Education in Administration and Planning, which is inconsistent with a current designation as an administrative staff member. There is the issue of corruption, quite a number of it, where the immediate past director, Dr. Abdul Latif Bello, is accused of fostering widespread corruption during his tenure, including introducing controversial policies like e-ticketing and online number plates registration. There is also the matter that concerns irregular appointments, where unqualified officers were allegedly appointed to sensitive positions to enrich the former director, with the Deputy Director of Operations identified as a key beneficiary. There is extortion, where the DRTS task forces are accused of daily extortion of motorists and motorcycle operators. And of course, finally, the handover process, where petition alleging that the handover process was controversial, bypassing the most senior deputy director in charge. Now, there are implications to this, and of course, there is also the place of what needs to be done, and that will be the very flagship of the discourse in the end of this show. Now, loss of public trust, where the allegations may lead to a loss of public trust in the agency and the FCT government. Now, corruption and mismanagement is no news anymore, because it does seem as though corruption and mismanagement is now the order of the day. But all of these must stop if we must get it rightly, right? Corruption and mismanagement may result in inefficient service delivery, a lack of accountability, and of course, the agency may lose revenue due to corruption and mismanagement. And when we talk about revenue, we've heard from Mr. Aminu right there that, look, the DRTRs and all of these can indeed become a source of revenue for the government. And when revenue is cut short, here comes the issue of the Nigeria being broke, saying we need to borrow monies here and there and all of that. This revenues would have gone a long way in ensuring that, at least, if not for anything else, censorship of road use, could be ameliorated or allowed for road users, motorists, commuters, and all of that, for everyone to enjoy facilities that is timeless, such that Nigerians can say, okay, this is what we are seeing that the government is doing. This is what we are seeing that our taxpayers' monies are going into, and all of that. Because the truth is, many Nigerians are asking the questions of, where are all of these revenues going through? What are we using these borrowed monies for? What are we using the monies that we've gotten as a from the GDP and all of that? What are we using these monies for? Where is it? There is also that issue of non-accountability and non-transparency. And that's a huge factor right here. So add your voice already right now. 0907-353-0044 is that number. And the other number will be the WhatsApp portal number, where you just send a message to it and let us know your thoughts on this topical issue this morning. Right. Now, we're still with our guests in the studio and via phone call. I'm talking none other person but Mr. Aminu Iro, who is a former director, FCT VIPS Abuja, as well as Mr. Nuhu Chachet. He's a retired security expert with the agency on this matter. Have you experienced any sort of infringement, so to speak, and you want to put it out there so we can help the agency as well as help educate and inform the general populace, you might as well want to put out your voice now so that we can indeed trash some of these thoughts out, as we have specialists in the studio to discuss this. But let me come with you, Sir Aminu Chachet. No, I beg your pardon, Sir Nuhu Chachet. As a retired security expert, how do you think the agency can prevent this corruption and ensure accountability from your experience?
You know, there are so many things that can be corrected, and we find things very easy to do.
Yeah.
In the system.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have security documents. When those security documents are not leaked out and they are within the jurisdiction of the officers who are supposed to use them, you know, there will be no leakages that will come in out of the whole system.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you feel that if the security documents are not leaked out, there'll be no leakages, and we will have a smooth operation for the agency.
Yes.
Mr. Aminu, you agree with that? Is that just
I agree with him entirely, though I could not hear him very well. But what I want to please comment on is the issue of this digitalization of registration.
Yes.
The last director, they introduced online registration.
That's right.
That is good in itself.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, there is one big catch there that eventually will give the authorities problem, because it's not well managed. What I'm trying to say is that somebody sit down in his room, use line, internet, and register a vehicle. Now, our law says that any vehicle that is so registered must be brought for inspection at the computerized inspection centers. Now, anybody can, in the comfort of sitting room, fill out form, pay money, but without necessarily filling all the necessary documents correctly. So invariably, the applicant may register a vehicle that is not there. You can see the application, sir. That was me. So that means one day, criminals will now use the system to register the vehicle. The law says that any person who wants to register a vehicle, fine, go and register a vehicle online, but brings a vehicle so that the vehicle inspection officer checks the documents, relate the VIN number, chassis number of the vehicle, the engine number, the vehicle color, and ensure that the very vehicle that the applicant said is a very vehicle given that plate number. Otherwise, we may have problem eventually. In fact, remember that there was one time when we had this bomb of UN at the UN headquarters in Abuja.
Yeah.
We had it was very difficult for us to find the registration number. Fortunately, we had hard copies at that time. And through that hard copy, earlier when the vehicle was registered, we discovered the person that registered the vehicle up initio. Now, for anybody to come from the company sitting room, register a vehicle, and you give him plate number eventually, that sounds corrupt. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm very sensitive about this.
Right.
The police, the Inspector General of Police is supposed to be the central motor registrar. The police must come in here and do what they should. What is their responsibility? they must ensure that all vehicles registered are registered correctly. Because if you register a vehicle online, and at the end of the day, that vehicle used to commit any crime, you may have a problem, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of the fears I have on this online registration.
So you're talking collaboration and partnerships with the police. Is that what you're saying? Or you're saying that the police should man up and live up to their responsibilities and duties as well?
No. What I'm trying to say is the law said that the Inspector General of Police is a central motor registrar, i.e. he is supposed to keep all the records of all the vehicles registered in Nigeria. That is his responsibility. Since that time and up to now. Now, for anybody to come and register a vehicle online, the police may not necessarily get the correct data from that online registration. You can see my fear there.
I see that.
So you can now see that any criminal, especially these days of kidnapping, all these things, people will just go and use registered vehicles that are not registered in that plate number name. And they will have problem all over the country.
So who are we calling out now? Who is to blame in this entire process?
The whole system.
The whole system.
Yes, because there are many players in the system that you cannot hold any agency particularly responsible for any particular thing.
Doesn't that also pose a problem when you can't call a particular agency and say, okay, you are the one that's the loose end.
Yes.
Tighten up and work. Doesn't that pose a problem?
Yes, those of us that are retired, this thing is paining us. It's paining us.
So what is the remedy then?
The remedy is for everybody to do what the law says. The Inspector General of the Police, they said you are the central motor registry. So what happens is that the IG must ensure that all vehicles that are so registered has a record. We have police officers in all the registration centers, but I doubt it if they fully collect the data of those vehicles so registered. Come to think about it, those vehicles registered online, I don't think the IG has that type of data.
Okay.
And he's supposed to give that data.
All right, we got a couple of messages right here. This one is coming from Kelechi from Port Harcourt. Says, what reforms can be implemented to prevent similar allegations of corruption, mismanagement in the future, and how can the DRTS agency ensure that its operations are transparent, accountable, and efficient? It has always been a problem, and Kelechi is asking all the way from Port Harcourt. What are your thoughts, on that? Let me come with our dear Mr. Chechet right here.
You see, when we are talking about avoiding corruption and all other things, we must have to talk of how our documents are being released out. How are they being kept? How is the system working?
Okay.
You don't expect a staff does everything for himself when they are not supplying him with tools to work with.
So you're saying that there is some levels of inefficiency going on?
Yes, inefficiency going on in the system.
Within the system?
Within the system.
Which is corrupting the system?
Yes.
Okay. And that's why we can't have transparency and accountability and efficiency
in the system.
In the system.
Yes.
So are you indeed also adding your voice to this and saying that, well, you can also allegedly say that, well, the system is faulty and needs to be fixed?
They need to fix the system.
The system in itself.
They need to fix the system very well.
All right.
So that those leakages will no longer be there.
Okay. Okay, fix the system so leakages will no longer be there. How can the DRTS agency restore public trust and confidence in its operations, especially given the allegations of corruption and mismanagement? And what steps can be taken to improve accountability and transparency? Tunde is asking all the way from ABJ right here. Let me direct that to you, Mr. Aminu.
I'm sorry, the line, I cannot hear what was said actually.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
So Tunde is saying from Abuja, how can the DRTS agency restore public trust and confidence in its operations given the allegations of corruption and mismanagement? and what steps can be taken to improve its accountability and transparency?
Simple. Appoint a correct person as the director. A director that is professional will do the correction. Come to think about it. When we were directors, when I was director some 9-10 years back, there was no problem like this because we are handling everything professionally. So what I think is that if we appoint a professional, we will not have this kind of problems. Remember, right now, the DRTS cannot operate because somebody went to court and they stopped VIO from operating on the roads, isn't it?
Yes.
When we were there, we were faced with so much that kind of cases, but we won all our cases because we were professionals.
So are you saying that DRTS has lost its way now, or the agency has lost its way?
Yes, because professionals are not the ones that are running the organization. Period.
Okay. Well, we see this one coming from Bamidele all the way from Lagos. How can the FCT minister ensure that the investigation into the allegations of corruption and mismanagement at DRTS is thorough and transparent, and what measures can be taken to prevent similar issues in the future? Right. I'll leave that question to you, Mr. Aminu.
Again, I cannot hear what you said.
Okay. How can the FCT minister ensure that the investigation into the allegations of corruption and mismanagement at the DRTS is thorough and transparent, and that what measures can be taken to prevent similar issues in the future?
I think what happened was that, let's go back to administratively. Administratively, when somebody leaves a place, there is a transport secretary that oversees the responsibility of DRTS. Now, the transport secretary is supposed to ensure that the most senior person take over that place, whoever he is, for obvious reasons. Now, for somebody to maybe, like you said earlier, to give that to office to somebody who is not the most senior director, certainly there are questions to be asked there. It looks like the transport secretary is unaware of what is going on there. So the best thing the minister should do is to sit down, look at all this holistically, and appoint professionals to that chair. Simple and straightforward. Things will move forward.
So the bulk of the work falls on the table of the FCT minister?
Certainly. It's his responsibility.
All right. Well, I want to say a big thank you to you, though, for being a part of the conversation this morning, Mr. Aminu Iro.
Thank you.
You are a former director with the VIPS FCT Abuja. And for your take in the discourse this morning, and of course to you too, Mr. Nuhu Chachat, you're a retired security expert and with the agency, and you've told us that, look, hey, it does seem as though there is quite a lot of inefficiency going on within the system, and there is a need to avoid leakages. That the moment we are able to do that, then we will indeed drive that agency forward and see the gains from that agency. Thank you both for being a part of the discourse this morning.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, this is where we call it a close on the Eagles Outlook this morning. It has been a great conversation with you, and thank you for those of us that have been able to get on to the website, drop messages, let us know your thoughts in this regard. We appreciate your thoughts on this, and we don't take it lightly in any way. Until we come your way, same time, same station, that will be tomorrow. Do well to keep the flag flying. My name is Udwak Daniel.